Welcome to this episode of Resetting Your Compass. Basically, the long tread preparation, and that is pulling that little fella back there, that tyre, all the way down the UK from John Groats to Land's End. 850 miles, 2 million steps, approximately 44 days. So, start of this week, or the end of last week, start of this week, we've had a fair few curveballs come at us. Doesn't always run smoothly. The first one was, as you're aware from the last video, we got an offer accepted on a house, which is awesome news. And the curveball was, really strange this, the seller's solicitor basically would not communicate with us. We couldn't understand what was going on because we're going to self-represent ourselves in doing the conveyancing. It's not difficult, so therefore we're going to self do it ourselves. However, and we don't know why, the seller's solicitor wouldn't deal with ourselves. We heard a bit of hearsay through the estate agent, which I'm not going to go into, but it basically transpired that the seller's solicitor pulled out, not the seller's solicitor pulled out, which is a bit weird. In the end, what we actually had to do, we've had to engage a solicitor ourselves just to get this sale go through, because obviously we want to buy the property. It's going to cost about another £1,000 rather than doing it ourselves. A bit unfortunate. Obviously we don't want to rock the boat why the sale goes through, but after that, naturally we'll take it a little bit further and understand what's going on, because you are legally allowed to represent yourself. There's no law stopping you do that. So that was curveball number one. We almost lost the property before we even began. So, curveball number two, that has also happened in the last couple of days. Sadly, somebody has shortened my car considerably. It now looks a bit more like a smart car than what it did. Anyway, basically what that means is we were stationed at traffic lights, car in front, and somebody sadly came in the back of us and pushed us into the car in front. So we didn't know it at the time because the car was just about drivable afterwards. But sadly, there's a huge oil leak as well, so the car is actually written off completely now. We are both completely fine, which is really good news. But one thing we didn't know, and this just came as a bit of a surprise to ourselves, a bit of a shock, seatbelts are designed to pull you back in your seat when you have an accident. It's a really good safety feature. And that activated, which was really good. And Jane's seatbelt, the actual little explosion, there's a little explosion in there that also pulls it backwards. Went off, and obviously when an explosion goes off, it's a little charge. It smells of burning naturally, but what it did do, it pinned both ourselves to our seats so much we physically couldn't move after the accident. We also couldn't press the little red levers to release the seat belts. We physically couldn't get out of the car. It was really weird, but we could smell this burning. After about 15 seconds, our brain started to realise what had happened, because you're all a bit disorientated in a crash. And all of a sudden I thought, well, hold on a second, can I release the seat further back? And I could get my hand underneath, get it back, release the tension a little bit on the seat belt and get out of the car, and Jane managed to do the same. So we're both perfectly fine, but it's more of a shock than anything else. And strangely enough, like a lot of these things, if anybody's been involved in a car accident or an accident of any kind, it doesn't affect you necessarily then, it affects you several days later, and it did. And we had an early night. A couple of days later, had a really nice sleep, and we're all good and well. On the positive side, though, we still managed to get to see Andy and his family, the CEO of the charity, which is really good news. So I know a lot more about Black Dog Outdoors now, why it was set up, what their ambitions are, which is really good news. And I definitely have chosen the right charity. It's awesome. So that was curveball number two. Really awesome. And finally, curveball number three. So we had a few in the last couple of days. It's been one of those few days where everything sort of backs up on you. But we got the courtesy car last night as part of the insurance, which is good news. Took it to the supermarket, and on the way there was loads of warning flashing lights on the dashboard. Taking it to the doctors this morning and back, same again. So I've rung them up. Hopefully they're going to deliver one today, if not tomorrow. So that car lasted about 6 or 7 hours before sadly had to go straight back in with. Very bizarre. But these things are, they're meant to test you. It's all about how you get on with things like this. So, for example, the car crash has put me back a few days. I stopped training for a couple of days few things in my diary got pushed back, but everything's been reorganised, rescheduled, and we're back on track. So that's really good news. We've also had lots and lots of emails, say lots and lots. We've sent out about 50 emails to possible sponsors. About, I would say about 8 have replied out of 50. So what's that, about 16% have replied with a no. Not unexpected, to be honest with you. I was expecting a fair whack. I think I'm going to send 200 or 300 out before I get a bite. But what's the worrying thing is how many companies don't even reply. It's quite sad, really. A lot of big companies, small companies, but they don't even reply to say no thank you. However, we're going to carry on. We're going to get another 50 out there, and we're just going to keep doing this until we do get a commercial sponsor on board for the long tread. And lastly, what have we already done? We've changed the route slightly for the long tread. Not massively, but we've looked at some of the really long stages, because I had a couple of almost 30 mile stages in there, and they were sort of back to back up in the Highlands of Scotland, so it wasn't just a case of the 30 miles. There'd be a serious amount of hills involved in there as well, so I've cut those up into 2 separate stages, just to make sure we don't push ourselves and cause injuries, etc. So we did that yesterday. Got one more to do. Actually, the best way to do it was just get hold of one of the local campsites, have a chat where I could wild camp, and yeah, so that's going through. Got one more to do, and then the route is set, folks. It's there. It's going to take, according to the diary, 42 days. I may put a rest day in there, as I've said before, but 42 days it is. Starting mid-April, we're going to have a cracking time, and obviously we record daily to let you know how we're getting on. Anyway, as I say, I'm out today with the old tyre. We've got 6 miles to do. We're about 3 miles in already, give or take. And then we've got a few things to do this afternoon as well. Back on track. After all the curveballs, back on track. Everything's happy, everything's good. Well, we're just out on our 8 miler with the good old tyre as usual. 8 miles are pretty easy these days, to be honest with you. Pretty nice, lovely day. It's nice and still, at 6 degrees, absolutely beautiful. So what else has been happening? A couple of things actually. Really good piece of news. The house is going through. We dropped all the information to the solicitor yesterday. Searches are done, all that sort of stuff. So it's really exciting. We hope that goes smoothly and we get our new house, which would be really, really nice. Other than that, bad news. Guinness Book of Records has turned us down for the long tread. Got the standard reply email that I assume many, many thousands of people get as well. I think I can appeal against it, but to be honest, I'm not going to bother, because the world record for London, John Groats Land's End pulling a tyre was a nice icing on the cake. It's not what this is about. The whole idea of the long tread is to increase my profile and many other things. So I'm not too worried about it, and I'm not going to appeal it, I don't think. However, that said, and I'm going to bookmark this video, because I have a funny feeling, if everything goes well, and I do get as much press as I'm hoping to get for this challenge, I have a funny feeling the Guinness Book of Records will come back to me and want to reinstate it. But I'll see. Let's see what happens there. But I have a funny feeling it might come back at a later date through a bit of peer pressure on that one. Other than that, I want to have a massive shout out, by the way. Obviously, we've had a few downers in the last few days, as you know from the video. Massive up, by the way, folks. A big shout out to Libbrook Primary School. I received all your letters, so thank you very much. Absolutely awesome they were. And I managed to get to read them last night. Obviously, with everything else happening, it took me a little longer than usual. Wow, what an uplift. I want to say thank you so much to all the boys and girls at Libbrook Primary School. They were amazing, and all of you, please live your dreams. But thank you so much for those. Massive uplift. Just under 25 miles with the good old tyre. Long old day today. But, that's really good actually, because 25 miles is one of the longest stages on the long tread. So that's pretty good. We managed to do that, to be honest with you. Not going to lie, it's tough. Pretty hard to do, but happy with that. So yeah, let's see what the end of the week brings. But might go and have a beer now. Well, that was a pretty tough week, to be honest with you. There was a lot of curveballs thrown in there. a lot of other things thrown in there, but all in all, a really good week. Tough, but good. Everything else is sorted now. The courtesy car's here, so we're all right to move around. The old car's getting picked up a week on Friday, which is really good news. And yeah, everything else is coming together. We've got the training done, obviously. Everything else has been done. Got an email back from one of the possible kit suppliers yesterday. That they're offering me a 40% discount on the solar panels. Solar panels aren't expensive anyway that I'm looking at, but they're offering me a 40% discount. But I've written to quite a few companies on that, so I'm hoping to get a free set of solar panels, as in a free tent as well, and a few other bits of free kit. Let's see how that goes, because the YouTube followers now increasing significantly. We're gaining 4 or 5 every single day now. It's getting pretty impressive now, and that's a regular thing that's happening. So profiles going up. More YouTube users means obviously more possibility of getting free kit and also sponsors on board as well. So all in all, cracking week. Got a hard week next week. Yeah, trying to do a 26 miler next week, but I'm not sure time-wise whether I can do it. The 26 miles, sorry, with the tyre. The reason for that is that will be the longest stage of the long tread. However, I think sunrise and sunset are just too close together. The other day when I was out for 25 miles, I went out early in the dark and got back with 20 minutes to spare. So I'm not sure. It might have to be the week after I actually do the 26 miler, but I'll see what happens on Tuesday. I'll be out on Tuesday, stay out all day and see if we can get 26 done, but we'll see how we go. Anyway, thank you for watching, folks. That was a pretty tough week. I hope you're enjoying these, and obviously we'll be back next week to see exactly where we're going next. But thanks so much for following, and obviously, as ever, give us a sub if you're not already. Catch you soon.